In doing the goalie stretch, it's hard for me to get the inner thigh stretch without also triggering a pinching feeling in my hip. I know it's best to avoid this pinching sensation. What's your recommendation if it's not possible to feel the active stretch without feeling the pinch? I got that message from Jenny, who is a student of the FAI Fix program, and if you have stiff, tight inner thigh muscles, which you probably do, you might run into the same problem. So let's talk about how you can solve this issue. If you're ready, let's get ready to think right, move right, and feel right. When you're getting ready for any kind of stretch, you need to know what muscles you are trying to stretch. So in this goalie stretch position, we're trying to stretch out the inner thigh muscles. It's going to be everything here, and it can even feel a bit hamstringy or hamstring-like because the hamstrings, the medial ones, are actually here. So when you go down, if you feel pinching or jamming not in those muscles that you're stretching, then you got to make some adjustments. So a couple things she can do. Number one is to reduce the depth, reduce the amount of challenge that she's giving her body. So when you look at the goalie stretch, when we're stretching out the inner thighs, the more the leg is going away from the midline, so if this is right here middle, the more that leg is being pulled out to the side, the more this angle closes down, the more challenge that's going to be to these muscles. This is the opening angle, that's the closing angle. You can get pinching sensations all around the hip if you're going too far too fast. You might feel like pinching is happening here. You might even feel like it's really sharp and intense here. Probably not as much a pinching sensation, but maybe it's so sharp it feels that way. So to adjust that, you can reduce that angle by raising your stance leg, right? The stance knee is on something higher. It can be on boxes like this. You could go on a couch or a chair and then do that same stretch. Okay, another thing to think about is, in terms of depth, is how far you're trying to push your butt back in this stretch, right? If I'm going way back here, I am increasing the stretch in these muscles, right? So if I want to reduce that, then I could be way over here, right? I could just slowly find that angle or position that feels correct, that feels like, okay, those are the right muscles. I also want to pay attention to whether I'm doing any sort of funky compensation or putting strong pressure somewhere that's causing that pinch, and just go much more slowly, much more carefully until I can just feel the stretch sensation on some of the muscles that we know we're targeting. Another thing we can do is use contractions to make things feel more stable and to build strength in these lengthened positions. So maybe as I get right here, it just feels like, whoa, really unstable, and I can get some pinching sensations, maybe on the outer hip. A couple different contractions I can try are pulling down into the floor, so I'm actually firing the muscles that I'm stretching and really getting that sense of, okay, they're getting a little tired, and then relax. These are not super strong contractions. These are just sort of 30 to 50% contractions and then relaxing them. So I'm holding them just enough to feel them work and then relax. Another thing I could do, since the medial hamstrings could be involved, is I could be thinking about pushing into the floor and then pushing that way. So I'm trying to dig towards the window. And what that's doing is forcing the muscles of the posterior hip to create a motion that way. And that's going to get those muscles to fire while they're in that lengthened position. Another thing I can do, let me show you my butt, since that's what we're all here for, is just think about squeezing that cheek and then relaxing and then going a little deeper into the stretch, squeezing and relaxing. So that's 3 different options for contractions that you can use to try to get those muscles to feel like they're actively stabilizing, actively working in that position, and then learning how to be active without feeling like, ah. The way I like to interpret this or think about this is, when muscles are asked to do something that they're not really good at, that feels like it's too much, too fast, you will feel a warning sensation, which can be intense, like, it can be a pinch because muscle fibers are all, I think, kind of either jammed up between two hard things like bones, or those muscle fibers are so weak that the intense local sensation is interpreted, feels like pinching. So then by exposing those muscles to a little bit of work at a time and gradually getting them a little stronger and more used to being loaded, the pinching sensation can go away. And over time, as you build that strength, you'll notice that there's just no pinching at all, and you start getting more flexible and more mobile over time. And if right now you're thinking, oh, I'm just too old, or it's genetic and I can't stretch this, if it pinches, it's because I'm deformed, then I want you to take a look at this comment from Belle6219 on one of my previous videos about hip stretching. Belle6219 is 65 years old and achieved her lifetime goal of being able to do a deep primal Asian squat. She says, "This is amazing, life-changing. I am 65 and 30 pounds overweight. About a year ago, I made a defeated, whiny comment that it's hard for me to get out of bed in the morning and I didn't know where to start. Well, I decided to do something about it, and if I can do it, if Belle can do it at the age of 65, you have no excuse, so please stop whining about how you can't change whatever it is you're dealing with. Seriously, I can't stand whining. Go to your room. Oh, you're in your room already. Okay, well, go stretch. Go stretch." Hey, I want to say a huge thanks to 4 people who donated via PayPal to support this channel. Andrew gave $30, Martha and Michael both gave $20, and Carla gave $10. Thank you all very much for your support in helping me keep this channel going. If you want to support me too, go to uprighthealth.com/donate for all the very easy options like Patreon or PayPal, or you can use the join and thanks buttons on YouTube. I also encourage you to go to my website and get on my newsletter so that we stay connected just in case the YouTube algorithm or the censors decide that they don't like me anymore. All right, now let's get back to it. So Belle, thank you very much for sharing your story and inspiring others to change their bodies for the better. In this video, we talked about pinching in your inner thigh and how to deal with that when you're stretching your inner thigh muscles, but the principles that we talked about apply to basically any stretch. So if you want to understand all those principles in detail, I made a video a few months ago. I'm going to link to it up there and also in the description box. I highly suggest you watch it because it will help you get way more bang for the buck safely out of your stretching. For do-it-yourself programs to help you rebuild your body at home, go to uprighthealth.com/DIY and find a program that'll work for you. And if you're looking for the videos that'll help you get into a deep squat like Belle, or just get your hips feeling better in general, check these videos out here. Like, share, and subscribe with the bell notification on. And as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks. Life shouldn't.